Hello friends and welcome to another episode of Shenaniganilandia here at Coaster Monkey Studios. Your resident theme park employee is got a lot going on today. So in my last episode, I know I said that I would show off this whole area. I know the building of the lazy river, the pools, but unfortunately, we're not going to be doing that. When we built this on our 24-hour live stream, or 17-hour if you want to get technical, I had a lot of trouble. It was a struggle dealing with the pathing tool, with the pool tool, all of the nodes moving around. It was a bit of a struggle. So we wound up not moving forward with that content. Don't hate me. Anyway, what we are going to do though is we are going to show you guys all of this decor and kind of what we built around it. If you do want to check it out, you can go check out that live stream. It is still live. It's our 12 hours of our 17 because YouTube will not let you upload, or it didn't upload more than 12 hours of the live, which was interesting. But yeah, so here we are. So we're building a quick exit ramp. Exit platform, if you will, for this slide structure. I felt like it needed something here to kind of really make it feel a little bit more realistic, I think. And then what we're doing is we're kind of creating what the feeling around the lazy river is going to look like, right? So there's a lot of foliage going in. We're doing our, foliage layer treatment that we've been doing. We're grabbing native trees from the area. So here's the idea. So our water park, it is built within within the Northeast, right? So all of the foliage that's built in for this water park, it's all tropical, right? We've got a lot of palm trees, we've got a lot of tropical plants, and they're put in every year. Not the palm trees. The palm trees stay. Hopefully they could survive the winter. We'll see. But anyway, so what we're doing is this biome within the water park itself is all like this tropical stuff, and then the natural flora all around, that is what will encapsulate the outside of our water park, right? So that's the whole idea here. And we spend a lot of time working on this detailing to really make it feel alive, right? So there's a lot of layers to that to give life to a park, and it really comes down to the different elements, such as your fences, your foliage, rock work, things like that, to really give it life. There was one point where I looked at it and it just felt like there was so much movement without there being movement, right? And you'll see that in the glamour shots we did at the top of the video as well as at the very end of the video. Now here you're going to see we're building in a roundabout moment for our lazy river, and it's a little frustrating because nobody comes here. It's kind of just like this exists and nobody actually experiences it. Nobody goes down this part of the lazy river, and I don't understand why, and I don't know how to fix it. So if you guys know and you have any ideas, let me know in the comments below, I guess. But that being said, we are working on this like waterfall grotto moment. That's kind of the focus for this portion here. We want to make sure that as we're wrapping around this, there's a lot of kinetic energy happening. There's the waterfall movement, there's the grotto moment. We put in some pirate elements as well, because remember, this whole area is still pirate, right? That's the idea. This entire portion is an extension of our pirate island, which is going to be the center moment, the penultimate moment of our theme park, or theme/water park. So as we're building out this grotto, some of the things I was looking at was, how do we make it look like rock work, but, realistically, it's probably just a plank of wood with some pipes running through it. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of what I was going for there. I don't know if I pulled it off. It doesn't look like it's real rock work, but it doesn't look like it's fully fake either. And that's kind of the idea. I didn't want it to feel like it was like this overly elaborate thing. But in many of the water parks that I've been to, this is like a staple kind of moment. There's a waterfall moment that happens somewhere, right? So as you're entering into this waterfall moment, we kind of built this wall up here, and I like this idea of having the almost like a rainbow effect going of the water, like it flows over to the center of the pool. So you have the choice to go under it. You have a choice to get hit by it. It's fun. It's different, and that's kind of what we wanted to go after there. Now, these waterfall pieces. I love the waterfall pieces, but I gotta be honest with you, like the particle emitters, I can't figure out what works best for what. There's this really great, thick stream of water, but it's got like this trickle effect that comes out of it, almost like it's like at the surface of water. I don't know. I don't love it. I've been playing around with the particle emitters a lot in this, and I don't know if I love the way it comes out. So if you have any suggestions on waterfalls or kind of like making it or elevating the look, let me know. Let me know what you think. Because I'm not a fan of this 100%, the way the particle emitters are laid out. But here we are, just throwing out some more foliage. I did not show off building out all the foliage of the native area. We did a lot of that in previous episodes. If you want to go back to the building of Tiki Tower Splash back at the beginning of the series, I would suggest going there, because that's going to be where you'll find a really true in-depth breakdown of how I build out foliage and stuff. Or you can check out my lives. Speaking of lives, we go live almost every day. We didn't go live last night, but we were live all weekend long. We tend to spend at least one full day on the weekend, just live all day long. So you're more than welcome to join. We have a really good time there. There's a lot of good camaraderie. And speaking of camaraderie, we're also in the process of building out a Discord, which is going to be really cool. We've got a Discord getting ready to go live. We're working out the kinks now and getting everything sorted. Once the Discord is up and live, I will start putting that in the description, in the descriptor of the videos, so that you guys can go there. And join the Discord. We spend so much fun time, chatting on social, through the lives and through these videos. It'd be great to have more of like a real-time moment in the Discord, and we can speak to announcements, we can speak to uploads, we can share workshop items, all of that stuff. We're gonna go ham, and that's kind of the plan. That's what we want to go after. But here we are, we've got this thin section in the middle, and I thought it'd be great to have like a dual moment as you're coming through. One direction, you get like the splash moment, and then you come back in the other direction, you get this other splash moment. So I think that's a kind of fun thing to go after. And then we just hammed out our decor here. We covered all of it. So, fun story, this video was supposed to be a longer video. Well, let me rephrase. It's already going to be 28 minutes long, so that's already a long video. But what I mean is, there was supposed to be more involved. I wanted to have this entire area completed in one video, but honestly, it wasn't possible. It's just too much content to fit in to one video. So we're going to split this kitty pirate area into two videos. This is part one. And it's going to consist of our lazy river, and then the first of our two kiddie pools. And you're really going to like it. You saw some of it at the top of the video, but there's some really great stuff that we put in. We create a water pirate ship. We create a palm tree water thing that goes like this and like shoots the water out like this. I know it's a lot. But anyway, so back to what we're actually doing here. So we're building a wheel, a water wheel, and I know this is mythological, but I don't see us using this in the future right now for our mythological section of the park, which I'm totally here for. It's totally fine. And we kind of just thought about, like, you would use the pottery, maybe instead of the pottery it would be barrels. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to build a water wheel with the barrels. I feel like that's a little excessive. Since we already have two water wheels in the game, or two spinning wheels in the game. So I think this is fine. It does what it needs to do. And then again, we're just trying to throw in those touches of like feeling like realism, right? So we put in the pipe up the top, we add an access area in the back of the rockwork, just to give that feeling of realism. Now here we are with the water again. I wish we can just have like a stream of water. You know what I mean? Just a simple stream of water. That's all. I I don't know how else to do it. This is what we did. We did the bottom portion of the waterfalls, and it's trickling over all the water, and it looks like a lot. And I don't love it. I don't know what the solution is though, because I don't think we've got the particle emitters in the game that will deliver the look and feel that I'm going for. So it is what it is. It's fine. One thing I did want to do is I wanted to add some of the gold to this too. We are going to put in somewhere, right? We are going to put in another treasure chest moment with treasure and gold and stuff like that. So that's coming probably in the next episode. Once we build out the giant water play structure, that's going to be our next big thing in our next episode. And once we build that, we'll have another treasure chest or pirate area. Here we are just building out a little bit of realism in the back of this structure. Again, a quick walkway because the natural path kind of falls off. So we create like a retaining wall walkway. I've walked on a couple of these in my career. Not gonna lie. This is kind of just like the backside of this rock work, and then we throw a door on it and call it a day. C'est la vie. Right? We do wind up changing the front facade of this, and you kind of see it in the glamour shots we put in with more tropical. So here we are moving over to this water slide over here, and in this section, yes, we built this water slide. It was, again, a massive headache to build with the pathing. The pathing was very aggressively complicated. So as we're kind of decorating this one, my thought was a tree house, right? So I wanted a treehouse vibe. I thought it would work for this. I used Swiss Family Robinson's treehouse as our inspiration, base inspiration. I didn't want to overly theme it. Again, this park is supposed to be stylized. It's not a theme park, right? It's an amusement park that has some theming, right? And that's kind of the idea that we wanted to stick to. I don't know if I'm fully achieving that, but I think I am. But my thought process is like, how do we just kind of take these elements of an overly themed theme park and create something that fits within our structure in the biome that we're creating. The mixture of this was a lot of wood. It was a lot of bamboo. We did the thatch roof. So the thought process is that yes, this is a part of the pirate section, but it is right next to a giant tiki structure. So we wanted to marry those two, and I think we did a pretty good job, because if this is an extension of our shanty town, because it's kind of the idea, then this would be a little bit of both, right? It would be the thatch, it would be the bamboo, it would be that this wood planking that we used all over the shanty town in our last episode. So my big thing was, if this is a tree, I really wanted it to feel like a tree house, right? So what I loved is we were able to find a log somewhere in the game. I don't remember where. Somewhere, I think it's actually called log. It might be Viking. And we created giant log structures coming up that have been sawed off at the top. And again, it really just helps deliver the look that we're going for of a tree house, right? Or some type of tree structure. I wish we had like hanging vines that like you could string across, but here we go with the logs. Love them. They look so good when we put them in. And I think it's right here, watch. So we use it as central structure for our staircase, which I think is fun. And then we actually cover over the two support structures for the water slide itself. And I think it really just does play the part. I love this wood with the rope. I know it's overused. I know I've used tons of it, but it really it sets the pace and the stage for this makeshift structure, right? Because realistically, that's what it is. This is all like homemade or man-made, or supposed to feel man-made. And I think we achieved it 100%. So, one of my big struggles, I think, with this was this staircase. So if you accidentally click on the staircase, you can reset it, right? Hit escape and it'll reset itself. But then it shuts down your water slides. But your water slides are still open, but they shut down. So as I was building this, it was a lot of like, well, okay, gotta fix it, gotta fix it, gotta fix the water slide, gotta reopen the water slide. It kept happening over and over and over and over again. Look how good the tree stumps look. Oh, I love it. Anyway, so yeah, so it was a lot of that energy, which was just really frustrating. Here we are putting in the sign structure, and my thought for the sign structure was, again, if we're going for a tree house, I wanted it to be very kid-like, because this is it's a kid structure, right? This is not an adult water slide, even though adults can ride it. We've got something very similar at my water park, and I mean, literally, the water slide is maybe 20 feet tall, right? And you've got two slides that come down, and they both go around and down like this and then come out the center. That's the whole thing. And that's kind of what I wanted to duplicate with this slide, that kind of energy. No queue, no need for a queue. Nobody rides this thing. It's just, it may not be thrilling enough, maybe, I guess. I don't know. We get like maybe 10 people riding every hour. There's much more thrilling rides here in the water park. But we wind up calling this one Tree Topper. And I think this is really just a solid structure, a solid feeling and looking piece. We'll get this up on the workshop for sure. I think this will really just, it'll do well on the workshop. It's an easy, simple build, something you plop into your park. And I think will really set the stage for any type of tiki vibe or any type of tropical vibe water park. This is just the perfect kind of structure. All right, so as we move away from Tree Topper, we're getting into the big piece de résistance for this episode, which is our play structure, our pirate ship play structure. This was based off of something. It's an actual play structure that exists IRL that I got the inspiration from, and it's just a climbing structure in somebody's, or well, not somebody, in a playground, not somebody's playground. But we kind of took the inspiration from that and kind of played with the pieces that we had to really create the elements that would pop the right way. I really wish we had like diamond plating, but I was thinking about it. It wouldn't be a diamond plated floor. It would probably be like a rubber mat floor or something that has some texture to it so it doesn't slip and slide. And I like the bottom of these metal pieces because they have that kind of like shiny, glossy, wet look, but it's also textured so it looks like wet rubber. And I'm glad we went with this. It's a really solid choice. And obviously we covered up all the areas that kids could slip through and put a leg or break a leg or whatever the case may be. And we kind of made that happen. Now, IRL, these are plastic pieces, but we're going to pretend and say these are plastic pieces that are painted to look like wood, right? See what we did there? In my park right now, in my park, we have a playground, and the playground has very similar elements that are meant to look like natural fibers, but they're actually just made of plastic and treated and painted. I love this treatment we did for the sails as well. We went through a couple iterations that we were testing, but I think we landed on these wire nets, if you will. It makes it feel a little bit more abstract, and I think that abstract vibe is really what sold this build for me all the way across the board. Like, it's clearly a pirate ship, but it's not. You know what I mean? So I think we really hit the nail on the head with that, and it was successful. It was a successful build for sure. One of my favorite parts of this too was that once we really started getting the group going, because I really felt like, again, when it comes to these builds, I always hit a point at some point where I'm like, is this right? Is this good? You know what I mean? And I feel like this is one of those moments where I was like, oh, am I making the right decisions? Am I making the right taking the right direction? But once we started putting the planking in and started putting these rivets in, for me, it was like, okay, this is the build. This is what we're doing, right? And I think it really sold itself to being a solid, strong structure and something different from anything that I've seen anywhere else on the workshop or anything that I've done before. Right? And I think that's what makes it fun, you know? All of our pipe work does come out of the ground, so you'll see the pipes that'll come up. We'll run them through the bottom of the structure, again, for that touch of realism. And it's super fun. I like the cannons that come out of the side here. So we put in like 2 cannon faces. If you will, but they're just giant pipes, right? They're giant pipes that squirt out. We do add in the end, which is one of my favorite additions to this. Oh, here we are playing with some different structure pieces for the sails. I was like, oh, maybe this could work, but no. But yeah, so we do add movement to this. And I felt like once we did put this into place, it needed some kinetic energy. Even though we had the water flowing and the water running, it did not feel like it was alive. You know, and I think once we added those movement pieces within this pool, it kind of brought it to life, and it did exactly what it needed to do. This has been my go-to, like these lights, using them as like a stopper or like an endpoint to a pipe. Just make them black, and they won't shine at night. Again, super fun, super great look. I love this. We start putting the squirts and the spouts in. This is all fun. So we used a lot of different elements for this too, from a bunch of different packs. Resort pack was heavy here. We've got a lot of our base game stuff as well, kind of thrown in here. But as we're building this structure out, you know, it really was finding what that balance is between where we put a facade, where do we put the dome windows, where do we put an entry point for the kids to climb onto? These submarine pieces, A+. They really just, it sold it for me. This is where I started having that moment where like, okay, we're doing exactly what I'm going after, and I love it. Oh, and these sails just came out so good. Look at that. Like how it's so simple, yet so effective. And I think that really is the nuance, the true nuance of this game. How do you create the simplest way possible, but make it look so elevated? And I think we did that. It's super stoked here. We wind up actually changing this in the back end too. This becomes like a plank bridge onto the back of the structure. Now for this pool, if you do want to take this and you want to put it in your park, this pool is the wading pool depth. And you could just line this up to the edge of your pool and create this faux walkway into the structure. But do remember, it is a wading pool depth. The shallow pool depth can work as well. You'll just have to remove the step ups that we have in the pool. And you'll see when we put those in momentarily. There's a lot of fence work we did in this for this section as well that I cut out of the video. It's just so much fence work. And I mean, at this point, if we don't know how to place a fence, come on. Here's my abstract crow nest. Oop, I just got excited, sorry. Here's my abstract crow's nest. And I just love the way this looks. It looks so good. It really just plays the part. Right? It's not perfect. It wasn't meant to be perfect. It was meant to be a little bit janky because pirates are not perfect. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the look there. We put in our flag up top, and here's me trying to figure out if we should put water squirting from the top of here. I really wanted it, but with all of the other elements we add to it, I didn't think it was necessary. Honestly, it wasn't necessary at all. I think for this part here, yeah, so we start adding, I think we put in another dome section over here, which is fun. And I love these giant domes from the submarine. Maybe we'll do a submarine moment somewhere in this build. I'm going to have to digest that. I don't know. We'll have to digest what that looks like. We'll see. These are the step ups I was talking about. So if you do bring it to shallow depth, you will have to delete these or get rid of this because it'll be underground, right? And we don't want it to go underground. That's just not the look. And there's a lot of moving around. I'm sorry. I was checking sight lines and stuff. It was aggressive. It was aggressive. So what do we got going on in the channel? Well, next episode, we're going to wrap up this whole area, which will be super fun. I'm thinking one more episode should be the end of this pirate area. And then the episode after that, we're going to build out the promenade and the restaurant and the shopping center that we want to put along the riverfront. and that will have the promenade that faces out to Center Island. We're not going to work on the bridge that crosses over to Pirate Island. Oh, what if we call it Pirate Island instead of Center Island? I think we're going to do that. So it crosses over from to Pirate Island. We're not going to work on that in this episode. That will be built out when we build out Pirate Island, right? That'll be the last thing that we do in this entire build for Shenaniganilandia. But once we're done with that, I'm very excited to head back over to the water park. I mean, to the theme park. Our next section of the theme park is going to be Viking. So we'll do a whole Viking area. I've got plans in place already. I've got things drawn out that I want to create. And it's going to be very family friendly, I guess I could say. But like family thrill friendly. Right? That's the whole idea for this next area. It's going to be a family thrill section of the park. We wanted to have the touches of, let's say, Wildwood Grove at Pigeon Forge, right? In Pigeon Forge, in Dollywood. I mean, granted, Dollywood's in Pigeon Forge. Shut me up. Anyway, Wildwood Grove, Dollywood. That's kind of where my head is going for the next section of our theme park. And it's gonna be super fun for sure. I think we do something that like Big Bear Mountain. Big Bear? Big Ben? Is it Big Bear Mountain? Big Bear Mountain? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so here we are. We're building a splashy thing. Now this splashy thing, these buckets IRL, they tip. We don't have tippers. We can't make them tip. I mean, I can make them tip, but you can't. And that's the other thing. Like the mechanical pieces, you can't shrink them down. I find that very weird that you can't shrink them down. It'd be great if you could, because you could stick them inside of something and turn them sideways or whatever the case may be. But they don't shrink down, so that's the whole thing. But once I put those in, I thought, okay, this is where the kinetic energy comes into play. So we took the pipe that was in the center of our boat structure, and we added it to a moving piece. And then we centered that on our boat. Now, fun story, you can deactivate them to build that. I kept trying to pause the game. Mess. Anyway, this is the other kinetic piece, the other movement piece that we created within this area. We actually have these in my water park that I work at, and they are basically like palm trees, right, that have water spouts that come out. Once the water turns on, the water makes it spin. How simple, right? Super fun, super simple, and it really just adds an element of movement that I think the area needed. We're going to add a couple more of these into the other section as well, so we will duplicate this. There's a few of them around. There are also these palm trees we have in my water park that are they look like palm trees, but they've got a center bowl at the top that spreads the water out. So maybe we'll do one of those also. I don't know. I'm debating. But as we get to the end of the video, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe. I mean, it's a pleasure to do this. I love hanging out with you guys on live. You guys are awesome. And until the next video, we're going to enjoy these glamour shots. And I hope you guys keep on building. Thanks so much for joining. We'll catch you then. Ciao.